Welcome, world. We're back with the second season of Concrete and Blossom Podcast, creating change through our conversation. It's your creator and host, DawnTheDoll, of course. And for episode 9, I sit down with hip-hop recording artist, songwriter, and lyricist, TWAIN. Tune in as we talk about music in the hip-hop industry. Is it a passion or a pit stop? DawnTheDoll delivers. Thank you for joining me. I'm really excited to have you on as my first music artist for my podcast. I definitely went and listened to quite a few of your songs. A lot of different platforms. I think your Spotify was the first one that I saw that had just like multiple, not Spotify, the Linktree had like multiple links, and I was like, yo, I have to get my Linktree set up. That's like perfect. So, and I also thought it would be really good just to hear, directly from somebody who's into music and whose music is actually talking about something. One of the episodes in this series that I'm trying to do, I'm not a musician of any sort. I played saxophone in like middle school, but I love music. I dance, and so I really love music. It definitely moves me. It definitely heals me. It definitely, in a lot of ways, just changes lives. And so I think it's important, kind of in today's world and society, for this episode, Passion or Pit Stop.
I love the name.
Thank you.
I love that. I had to pick that one because I feel like this was meant to be, because I think about this topic all the time privately and amongst like my circle. I haven't said nothing in public about it or even on my socials about it. So I like that it's like a official forum to talk about it, Sorry, not to interrupt. I love it so much.
No, you're perfectly okay. That's exactly what I wanted to be like. Feel free to hop in at any time. This is a free-flowing dialogue. But yeah, so it's really just about like everybody wants to like do music. And so it's kind of just like, okay, is this really a passion that's out here right now? Or is this more a focus of a quick pit stop? People are seeing what potential benefits could be physically. I think a lot of times people go for what the look of being able to do music and be a music artist is. And so that's just what we're going to focus on. So
I love it. And I do want to ask you, how did you find me? I would love to know that really quick.
So I was on Instagram. It was through Instagram, and I was looking at a couple of different podcast pages, and I was searching by hashtags. And I think one of the hashtags I searched was something like either like Black music podcast or Black music or something of that nature. And your pages was one of them that came up. And again, I literally went through and was looking, okay, what kind of music is this person trying to put out right now? Like, what is this person kind of talking about? Okay, do they have anything where they're talking? Where can I find their music? Where can I actually like send people and, promote for these healthy messages and, just stuff like that. And it just so happened, I was like, okay, I'm going to just take a shot in the dark. I'm going to reach out. I know I'm new. I just launched on July 4th because I was like, nope.
Congratulations.
These white people, like, all Black, everything. So on the 4th of July, like, thank you so much.
Well, now I got more backstory. I'm really honored to be here. I'm big on investing in women and supporting women, especially Black women. So now that I got a little backstory, that even made me even more honored. And thank you for doing the leg work to find me. You dedicated already. I see. That's what it takes. Like, if I'm gonna get this started, let me get out here and do some research and find some people and just reach out. And so I just had to know that because I was like, at first I didn't even know. Sometimes you get spam. I'm like, no, this is real. This is a real page, and you just starting out. That's all it is. Then you really send me the email. I'm like, okay, this is real. Because sometimes. You never know who might, you never know who might send you a message or say they doing something, but the follow-up was there. Everything looked on the up and up. So then you send me the topics. I look at these are some amazing topics. But with no further ado, go ahead and do your thing. I just have to know that.
Well, thank you. No, absolutely. I'm more than happy to share that background story. Yeah. For a couple of those other ones, if you would like to hop back on, they may become open panel just where other people can call in, where it's the same platform, but multiple people call in. People I don't know. Sometimes I just kind of market it and then people can bring people. But things like that. So I really appreciate it. And yeah, we out here trying to do this. I like to talk. That's one of the things I'm good at in life. I have a lot to say. I believe that I'm a healer. And when I say that, I don't mean it in a creepy way. I mean it I think that one of my purposes in life is to be able to give people a different perspective in such a way that it allows their mind to open where they can heal themselves. And I just really mean heal themselves, because our bodies are so intricate and they're meant to be able to do everything that they're supposed to do for us.
Yeah, we're made perfectly.
We treat them correct.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I feel like, the universe and God gave us is music. And I mean that to the utmost sense, even in just the sounds of nature. If you sit outside, it can heal you literally just by having that. So that's here we are with Music is Medicine. Hence why I have that whole title and that series. And I just think that, again, with today's climate of the country, even though I get my jam on when it's time, I think that a lot of the artists are definitely not using their platform in the right way. And I definitely think that it is a pit stop for a financial gain versus a passion to really impact life with their music. So seems like everyone wants to do music. Welcome, TWAIN.
Hey, thank you for having me, Dawn. This is awesome.
Thank you for joining us. I'm so excited. What better artist to have on our show than someone who is straight by way of Chicago, by way of Minneapolis. You're a seasoned music maker, you're a songwriter, a lyricist. You try to strike a strong balance of timeless and contemporary hip-hop energy, autobiographic tales, and wordplay that a lot of purists can appreciate. So I'm really happy to have such a seasoned artist on. So let's talk about your last commercial release, The Gift of Discovery. That was back in 2016.
Yeah, I dropped a couple 20 EPs, and that was the second one. It's kind of all in the name. I had that was like my mixture of talking about learning to accept myself and be who I am, and doing a little social observation and speaking on people being who they are. So that's kind of what I landed on with that EP. And it was a quick, short 6-song EP, but it did really well for me. It could always, in the music game, it could always do better, but we grateful and we appreciative. And it was really a good time for me putting that out back then. Absolutely.
Right. And so that kind of even brings us in today's topic about it being passion or pit stop with the music. Yeah. So you said it was a gift of discovery and you were kind of trying to find yourself. So is that when you found music to be your passion, or was music already something you were doing at that time? Heavy?
Oh, no. Music is something I've been doing heavy. I've been in, I'm an independent underground artist. I've been in the music business. This past February was 18 years I've been in music, recording and performing. Wow. So yeah, I'm definitely a young OG veteran at this point. So it's always been a passion for me, and that's why today's topic is right down my wheelhouse. I definitely have a point of view to offer on this.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited. And so, okay, listeners, so you can find his full bio. It is going to be listed in the description on all platforms for this episode. So make sure you read and check him out for everything he's been involved in and things he's still working on and still doing. I know that you just had a new release, Central Standard Time, that released this year in February. Yep. Okay, I see your apparel. We're going to need one of those. We're going to need one of those sent on down over here to Texas.
I got you.
Bet. Yeah, so we're going to have to go ahead and market those. We're going to have to put those on our page. So y'all make sure that you look out, because we will be putting some Central Standard Time apparel up on our Instagram and our Facebook. You can follow us at Concrete and Blossom Podcast. So you got started in the music industry, you said about 18 years ago. So how did you find music in the first place?
Well, I was always a big fan of music growing up in Chicago. I listened to the radio. My mom always had music on. I'm an 80s baby, so I grew up on all that great music, Michael Jackson, and we be listening to him. And sometimes they go all the way back to James Brown, and she listened to a lot of Luther and Anita Baker. Music. Yeah, the real good stuff. So then me and my brother on our own, we kind of found hip-hop with KRS-One and NWA. But, listening to the radio, I just was really a fan of it. And then later on, I started kind of dabbling in writing. You know, some friends, my neighbors on my block in Chicago, they kind of got me into it. And I really just kind of in secret worked on my craft like all of high school. And toward the end, like right around when I graduated, I got really good. Just kind of working on my craft in secret. And I would go online back before that was even a thing and be with other MCs on message boards. And I really honed the craft to where I felt like, okay, I'm getting pretty good. And all my guys around me, they was like, yeah, you good. You know, they start bragging about me a little bit to people. And I'm like, maybe I could really do this. So then I devoted all my attention to becoming a real artist after that. Like all my focus. How do I get in the studio? How do I make songs? How do I really write songs? How do I put music out? How do I get myself heard, even though I'm independent, you know, unsigned or whatever you want to call it? So that's how it all started for me.
Gotcha. Okay. And so with that, once it got started for you, it definitely, did you find it to be some like therapeutic almost? I know a lot of times when people are putting out music, sometimes as independent artists, they do it because it's like a mode of therapy for them. Right.
For me, it was always like a case of like artistic identity, like even to this day, like, you know, when you start out, you kind of, well, I guess I'm gonna speak for me. I'm gonna say I. So when I started out, I was like very influenced by the artists, all my favorite rappers and things like that. So it was a blend of me being me, but also being extremely influenced by what was out there. And it just took me a while to really land on my voice. Like even when I was making kind of personal music at the beginning, it didn't, you know, it wasn't, my feet ain't fitting the shoe, so to speak, you know. So I had to really land on it because it was a whole nother honing of the craft once I got started. And then just learning what I want to say and how I want to say it. And, you know, then I started to form an artistic identity. And then like even later in my music career, it really just honed in like with just being like a grown man and like living life and bringing life back to the art. So like now I'm super clear on the kind of artist I am and the stories I want to tell and you know, what I want to share and what I don't want to share and what I'm not ready to share yet, you know, that sort of thing. So it's a process for sure.
Yeah, so in one of our episodes, my first premiere episode, the topic was do it anyway. And so it sounded like you did just that. You definitely had to do a lot of, you know, introspection and figuring out how it was that you wanted to identify as an artist. And then you just did it anyway, like no matter what was kind of coming your way as an artist and kind of, I know, figuring out that lane. Which it reminds me of episode 3, Successful Sis. I talked to a couple of ladies and it was just about, you know, making sure that you find your lane and then staying in your lane because your network and your audience that you're supposed to cater to will naturally gravitate towards you and make sure that your success is what it's supposed to be just because you're staying true to the identity that you're creating for yourself. And
that's a fact.
And when believing in yourself, let's talk about these artists that are out nowadays. Let's get right into it. So these artists nowadays, do you believe in what these artists represent nowadays for hip hop, something that you found on your own? You know, your brother. Do you believe in what the hip hop game is today? Do you believe in the hip hop music that's out right now?
Well, you know, I've had to come around on like the evolution of it, you know. It's like, because it definitely has changed. And it seems like in the last decade, it's even changing at a faster pace, you know. So, I mean, yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because number one, I don't believe in censoring any type of artist, no matter what type of art you do. But with that comes a responsibility. You got to be responsible for the art you put out. Just because we're not going to censor you, don't mean that everybody gonna like it. That don't mean that it won't be offensive. That won't mean it won't be a bad taste. You know, you still got to find an audience for it. So good luck if you know whatever you want to say ain't or express, you know, is taboo or whatever the case may be. So, you know, I mean, we do see some trends. I'm a firm believer in there's always good music. You might just have to work a little harder to find it. There always is a good message. You might have to work a little harder to find because, as you know, Dawn, like. Normally, the really real stuff is not what's on the airwaves. Is not what's, you know, that's not what they broadcasting. You know, sometimes it's people slip through, or a really good song or a good message might slip through. But even now, I mean, even what's going on right now in the country and in the world, you got to watch it because they'll co-opt the movement and it won't even be about the message. They'll find a way to commercialize the message. That's happening right now, sadly. It's like now we don't even know who really believe that Black Lives Matter or who really is like, down with the movement. Because now it's like you can make some merch with it, or you could put it in your company slogan and then get more love or get more sales or get more consumers. So like that's always been a thing in the music business too. In the music game is you don't know what's going to genuinely make it to the top, to the surface and what's real. So I mean, I'm gonna always believe in hip hop. I ain't gonna never give up on it. I love it. It changed my life, But I mean, it definitely, there's some stuff that's really rough around the edges these days. But I mean, all stories need to be told. Like it's the same reason why we like certain kinds of movies. Like even the most hardcore movies, we still watch them. So they still popular. And I think that's what people struggle with music. Like people like, oh well, it's not that kind of entertainment, but it still is entertainment. And then it's artists like me who approach it. Yeah, it's entertainment, but I still want to have some integrity in what I'm doing. That's all. Yep. Right. So I think that's where a lot of people, especially in this country, get it mixed up. Like the music business is absolutely entertainment, just like the film industry is. They closely related, And I think it's the expectation, like more expectations put on music artists, whether that's fair or not, But it still is an entertainment business. But not every artist has integrity because it's entertainment. Right. You know what I mean? So I know that was a long-winded answer, but that's the best way I could answer.
It's absolutely true though, but if you think about it, your integrity for your art kind of comes with the passion that you truly have for it being an art.
I agree.
Because can you really call some of the stuff that's out right now, is it really art?
Hell no. Like, of course, some of it is exactly what it looks. Some of it is exactly what it looks like. This is what's popping right now. We know we can turn around.
It's a trap. It's a fucking trap. Yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's a trend. A lot of these is waves. I mean, a lot of it ain't gonna last. We'll see who actually lasts. Like, see, that's the thing. You can't beat time. Like, so, and I ain't never hating on nobody getting their money. You know what I'm saying? So get your money, but like, if it's a wave, you ain't gonna make it. Like, are we still gonna be talking about you in a couple years? Are we still gonna be listening to you? In this case, if it's a pit stop for you, is you even still gonna want to do it in 2 years? Like, that's the thing. Like, a lot of you won't even, as soon as I see your topic, Dawn, I'm like, okay, Pitstop, them the people that they just want to ride the wave. They just want the clout. It's clout chasing. Yep. It looked good, so I want to get in that. I want to do that because it looked good. I never even liked music like that, but I'm going to be an artist, though, just because it looked good, And I ain't going to lie, like, I'm a pretty evolved dude, but I don't care how fucking evolved I am. I still get offended by people. I'm still offended by that. Like, I'm like, get out. Like, if you really don't want to do this, you really don't love it like that, like, get you in the way. You got to get out the way.
If it's not medicine for you. Yeah, because this series is music is medicine. So if music is not medicine for you, then it's kind of just like a drug industry, right? And you got the good medicine. You got the good medicine that's out there that can really, really just be, because not every song is necessarily going to be talking about the current trends and issues and topics and things that we have to face in a serious world.
And we don't want that. I mean, we wouldn't want that anyway. We wouldn't want a full playlist of that. That'll get a little depressing. Like we can't. Right. But you need to be saying something right now. Please continue, though. Please continue.
Right. Yeah. You have to exactly. You have to be saying something right now. You have to at least give people. If don't take us maybe all the way up to that end of the spectrum with it being like very serious and current trending topics and maybe a Black Lives Matter situation. But I mean, does everything else have to be about twerking that ass and busting that hoe down and all that other stuff? Like every other song has to be about that. We can't get any of, just relaxing, chilling, vibing, enjoying enjoying life kind of. And it's just also funny how so many of the artists bring in music and so much of money in so much of their music. They bring in money so much in their music. And it's just like, to me, that's such a pit stop. Like, you didn't have money before, right? The money that you have is not sustainable because this is a pit stop for you, because all you saw with this avenue was that money. Like, you didn't see it as an actual, this music, like, this is what saved me. The music isn't really saving you. It's just this trend has saved you. It's just like when people sign up on these pyramid schemes. It's like, if you get in at the right time on that money circle, you can get your 14,000 after only putting in 100. You know what I mean?
Right. That's exactly what it's like. That's exactly what it's like.
So
and it's tough for me because I come from the streets, and I don't knock hustle. I can't knock nobody hustle. You know what I mean? But the true, real artist and musician in me, like I do kind of resent that. I must admit, like I can't. It's hard for me to balance the two. Like I really, because only the people that really love it or learn to love it gonna last, in my opinion. I mean, I've watched it. I've watched artists come and go. Only the people that want to grow in their musicianship and want to figure it out. I mean, that it don't matter who you are. That goes to the biggest multi-millionaire artists down to the independent artists like me. There's so many people I started out with, only a few have lasted. And don't get me wrong, like the music game is a tough game. Like it'll beat you down. Like I say on my new album, Central Standard Time, the last line on the album is Mary. Though the game almost made me crazy. Never sold millions, but fuck it. I'm here to say the babies. Like I'm still happy, even though being in this business, like, and it ripped me apart and put me back together, ripped me apart. But I just love it so much. And I love being an artist. I love being a creative. I don't ever want to go back to being normal, ever. Like, never. Fuck that life. Like, so it beats people down. So a lot of times they just not built for that grind either. And I get that. But a lot of people, they just, like you said, they just see it's like a Ponzi scheme, a pyramid scheme. How can I just jump in, ride that wave, get in, get out? I'm gonna make some quick McDonald's microwave music. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna treat people right while I'm in it. I'm gonna try to get over on everybody. I'm not gonna be honorable or have any type of integrity. I'm gonna get out and I got mine. That type of thing. I ain't gonna empower nobody. I ain't gonna get no game. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's how low frequency people move in this business. I mean, the music business is shark infested anyway. So
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So when you're dealing with that on top of it, it's rough. So,
and then you got the little fish just stopping by, on their pit stop. I consider them little fish because, we have some artists out right now that I can appreciate the artists that are capitalizing on the movements right now and the climate of the country right now, who are actually using it to say, hey, look, like, I know that this is my business, or, hey, I know that this is what's going on, but hey, I could still be a music artist. Because wouldn't it be just as good to be really talking about change and something, and like the artists who talk about their growth and coming from nothing or coming from a struggle, and how I use this to now I don't have to struggle anymore, and I can make sure other people don't have to struggle. You can do that over the same dope ass beat versus, again, that's talking about now I got my money and now, I'll still bust some nigga heads. I'll still whoop a bitch ass. I'm still out here thotting and bopping and I don't give a fuck because I'm a savage and all this other stuff, like, okay, so this wasn't kind of your passion. You just needed this to not be where you were. It's kind of like, where do we go after that? Because now you're here. Now you own a game. You at the top. You're with these labels or even some independent artists that are more mainstream. Yeah. It's like you're here now. So now what? Where does the passion continue to grow? Like, do you continue to develop as an artist, or are we still just putting out the same type of music over and over with no message? Like, what is your true actual message?
I mean, I believe that my personal belief is that every artist should evolve and grow. We should hear it with every project. Like me, you go on my discography, you definitely gonna hear my growth, but that's a little complex too, Dawn, because like a lot of people get trapped in their brands and they even want to grow and they can't. Or a lot of people, fans won't let them grow. Like that's, I mean, if we keep it in the bean, that's what happened to Mary J. Blige. Like she came she came with no more drumming. Like, get that shit out of here. Like the same thing happened to Keisha Cole. Like they get trapped in a brand, and then they want to do something different, but they fans won't let them. Like so, even the listeners share a little bit of responsibility. And I always say this when I do these interviews: if we demand different, the supply will change. People gonna always supply what you demand. So, you know, it's tough. I look at it like this. You know, I'm a pretty bright dude. You know, I was damn near child prodigy if I wasn't one. And people tell me I'm pretty smart and pretty intelligent. So I look at it like I have a duty to use my intelligence. And I'm not going to come on your platform today and front like I ain't never rapped about some of the stuff you talking about. And I ain't finna front like I don't got certain types of songs, even on my new project. But I can assure you that I accepted the challenge and I accepted that duty to bring my intelligence in my music. So I've accepted that challenge. So how can I still make these songs that sound a certain way, but they still got a message if you really listening? You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Like, so, for example, I got a song on a new album, Central Standard Time. It's finally starting to blow up, too, right now. It's called She Do Something. I mainly made it because one of my homegirls, she told me, she was like, man, your music cool and all, but you'll never have nothing we could dance to. Like, you know what I mean? She said that to me a few years back, and I was like, well, you know, I wasn't trying to force it. Okay,
well, we're going to listen to a snippet. We're going to listen to a snippet of this. We're going to listen to a snippet.
I'm going to wrap this up really quick. So that's mainly why I made it, because of the sound, and because she had a valid point, and I do have a lot of my base of supporters are female. You know what I mean? So I got to listen when they say something like that, because they're the ones that support me first and the most. But I'm like, how can I do this intelligently? So I wound up making a song. That song is about the flip side of the Me Too movement. I want to talk about how do we celebrate when a man and a woman do it consensually? How do we celebrate that? You know, we should talk about that too. We should talk about the same way we could, and there's nothing against the Me Too movement gets worse by the day. Like my heart goes out to everybody. We've been dealing with something like that right now in my city on a small level with the local music scene and creative scene. So this is crazy. But in that moment when I wrote that record, I said, well, I want to celebrate, you know, because I'm super anti-rape, super anti all of that. I haven't had any of those issues in my life. And I said, how do I make a song about that, though, and make it entertaining and not preachy? Because you know people don't want to be preached to.
Right.
You know that.
That's the thing.
And if you can't find a slick way to do it, some people will turn it off. Like even, you know, like we like certain Kendrick Lamar songs because the way he do it. You know what I mean? But he giving us new Black national anthems though. But the way he do it, you know, the way he do it so slick and so intelligent. So I took the same approach with that, and I took the same approach with the rest of the album. You know what I mean? And just all my songs. That's how I go in. How can I bring some level of intelligence to it? How can I bring some level of evolution to it? Because a lot of this music I do listen to, so I want to kind of make the music that I listen to, but it's going to be me. And I'm a smart dude, so why wouldn't my music be smart? You know what I mean? Even though I make rap bangers just like everybody else, like, but why wouldn't it be some level of intelligence there? It ain't gonna just be ignorant. You know what I mean?
But I think that's part of the balance in how you know when there's a true passion behind the music. Right. Because again, so my favorite music is jazz. And then I really like EDM and dubstep after that. Like it goes way left, right? So, and then maybe some R&B and hip hop like after that. But that's like
wow, okay.
And I gotta fit in 3 and 4 somewhere. I gotta find something else, right? So yeah, so for me it's like that's where it has to be a balance, and you can kind of tell it where the passion is because, of course, man, when it's time to turn up, I'm trying to out get it because I'm an adult, and I've had those experiences where I just want to get with my homegirls and be ratchet and not care, do hood rat things. I'm trying to do some hood rat things with my friends because it's fun, right? So you got to have that balance. But damn, like your whole album, that's all I'm doing. Like it ain't no bringing me down back to like now I done made my bag. I done did my hood rat shit. Now it's time to get down to business. It's time to reinvest in my community. It's time to put some game on for my youngins. Like that type of stuff. You know what I mean?
Right. I agree.
So it's kind of like for me, I'm not in music, but I'm an educator by profession. So I teach middle school and I'm fortunate enough to teach at an all-girls school. So for me, when I first started, like you're not catching me without my nails done, my toes done. Like I'm gonna be like Miss Prizzy all the time. Like that's just what it was. Well, when I got over to my school, anybody who knows me knows like my nails always gonna be done. You never know who you're gonna meet and have to shake hands with. Commercial break pause with Concrete and Blossom Podcast. What up, everyone? It's DawnTheDoll, creator and host of Concrete and Blossom Podcast. And if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's everything you need in one place. It's free. You record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will then distribute it for you on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Make money with no minimum listenership required. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And don't forget to subscribe to Concrete and Blossom Podcast on all listening platforms. Those need to be looking right as a young lady, right?
Right.
Once I became a teacher, okay, my passion changed. I evolved. It was kind of no longer only about me and what I thought of when I meet somebody. So now I need to show these young girls, look at me. Look at Miss Townsend. Like, I seem put together and I seem well-spoken, but let me get you in this closed door behind this classroom and let you know Miss Townsend from the hood. And I feel where you're coming from, and you don't have to have on them long stripper nails in middle school to be the same dope-ass little girl. Like, you can be that dope girl and be natural with it. So now I don't get my nails done anymore, and if I do, they're pretty short and natural and just polished and stuff like that. So I feel like as you evolve as a musician, let's tie this back into music. As you evolve as a musician, it's like you said, you have to bring some level of intelligence and bring it back down. Those songs that are about
at least for me, because it's like I don't know how deep you want to go on the podcast, because like there are certain artists where they play a character and we grew up on that and we enjoy that. Like Too Short, that's not really him. He's just playing a character. He'll tell you that. Like, and I mean, it makes sense. Like when you look at his music, it's like, oh, that makes sense because like it's kind of exaggerated, but that's dope though. I'm not that kind of artist. I'm just me. Like my real name is Antoine. I'm bringing Antoine to it. I've created a brand with TWAIN, and it's a little bit of a persona, but it ain't too far off from Antoine. So the music gonna reflect Antoine. So as I got more pro-black, I started talking about that in my music. You know what I mean? I'm going to bring it back to the music every time. I got kids. Like, they going to go through all this treasure trove someday, or like all this music and all my content. I want them to be proud of what they looking at. You know what I mean? Like, little black boys, kids, period. Like, I want them to learn. I want them to walk away with something. The same way when I was coming up listening to hip-hop, all these dudes was like changing my life. Pac, Big, Nas, Jay-Z. You know what I mean? Like, it was like the stuff I was hearing, I was taking a little, it was like extra school. You know what I mean? The stuff they was talking about. You know, these dudes that like they traveled, they didn't live a full life, so they put it in their music. So, of course, the jewels is dripping down to you, the listener. So I do have a little bit of an issue that enough artists ain't doing that no more. You know what I mean? Like, people still doing it, but it ain't like it used to be. And I'm over like being the old dude want to get in the time machine. It ain't that. It's just that me and you and this topic that we talking about, Passion or a Pit Stop, we do got a legitimate gripe when we say that some of the music out there could be a little better. You know, I mean, everybody need a soundtrack, like you said. We all want to do ratchet stuff with our friends. I know I do sometimes. I mean, I'm more laid back and chilling now. Because I've always been like a weird artist anyway. But when I'm on that, I do need that soundtrack when I'm feeling that vibe. But when I'm in the crib chilling, you know, having a vodka and I got the incense burning and I'm just reflecting, I need the music for that. I need a vibe. You know, I noticed over time I started listening to more R&B. You know what I mean? You know, like if I could catch a vibe with some of the new school artists, there's some that I like, you know, I catch that vibe. But I definitely listen to a lot of the dudes I still grew up on, so I go listen to the classics. You know what I mean? I find that when I pull the classics out, it helped me when I'm in a bad mood. Like if I'm not feeling too high, I'm in a bad mood, like getting a little low-key depressed or whatever, I pop in one of them classic albums I grew up on or just one of my favorites, I feel better. Like, I don't think that's an accident. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's an accident. So that's my motivation, because I want to do the same exact thing for my listeners. Like, I want to have the same effect on them or some semblance of it that the music had on me. You know what I mean? Like I know how powerful music is, you know? So that's why I can't play with it. That's why I said I can't play with it. 'Cause I know how powerful it is. So I can't play with it.
And see, that's my thing. So first I want to just touch on you being weird. I love that because in my opinion, weird just stands for what each individual represents and desires. So
okay, that's crazy. That's dope.
So I love that you're a weird artist because in your music, you're able to represent what you want to represent and desire openly. And so that's awesome. And I also think that it goes back to how music artists, even if that is your music, right? At some level, at some point, even in your real life, like how you said Too Short can let you know, hey, this is just a persona. This is just my music artistry. Right. I'm just doing it as an art. Like this is what I put on paper as if it were a canvas for you. This is a canvas for your ears. Right. This is a canvas for your ears, right? This is just for entertainment. But off of the music scene, when he's not recording, Too Short also does very great things. Like in his community, he actually gives back. He actually is going into the community, making changes and saying, hey, this is just a persona, kids. Like this is not, other artists, like this is just a persona. This is just for entertainment. This is completely separate. And then you have artists like yourself who are able to bring in more of yourself into your music, which is where I feel like artists should be nowadays. Like it's one thing to be a complete character, but that's way back when we didn't have certain issues as heavy as they are right now. And where there was even just more calm climate. The consciousness has never been as high as it is right now. Right. We gotta take advantage of that. I mean, I don't know if you may have heard my song Changes. That's how I opened that song up. I said the consciousness being raised. Like I didn't even know that it would happen like this soon in my lifetime. Like I know there's pockets of us that's conscious, if you will, you know, but for all of us right now in the world, for the most part, we all on the same wavelength. And of course, you know, there's some assholes out there. There's some assholes that's not feeling what's going on right now, but it's gonna always be those. You know what I mean? It's gonna always be those. But right now, you know, I could literally walk outside. If I see a white man walking down the street, I could take him to task and school him, and I could just pluck him out randomly. He might be more open to hearing it than he ever was right now because of what's going on right now. So you're right. Like artists, we should be taking advantage of where we at. You know, like I guess I got to keep name dropping, like Lil Baby. I love his new song and video. I know. I didn't know he had that in him. I literally have it pulled up, and I didn't know he had that in him. It's amazing.
I ain't even just saying it. Like, how about it's just a dope song too? Like, he killed the verses, he killed the songwriting, the format of it. Like, he killed it just as a song, and then the video is like classic, like an instant classic. Like, so like I didn't know he had that in him. That's a prime example, and he's speaking to the new generation.
Yeah,
like, he got that ear. He did exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole video, the whole song. And again, if you are a true artist, and this is just my opinion, because again, Lil Baby makes the same type of headbanging, busting songs, you know what I'm saying? Like every other rap artist. Right, like, but this song is a prime example. But if you listen to some of his other songs, like Emotionally Scarred, it's another one out that I really like. But if you listen to his songs sometimes, like he is legit, like always putting in a little droplet of sense. Some intelligence, like, yo, besides all this other hot shit I'm talking about, I really am talking about something. I really am trying to do something different on my end to make it to where it's not like this anymore.
Yeah, and in my opinion, as an artist, that's how you get the real respect. Like, that's how you get the real respect. That's how Pac got the real respect. Like, Pac could do it all. And I grew up listening to Pac, and everybody I was around and old heads listening to Pac, and they always liked his real shit more than they like any of his other shit. So there you go right there. You know, so you're right.
And let's talk about like the sustainability, like even just that, like how do artists become sustainable nowadays? You know, especially if it's just a monetary pit stop for them. Right. You know, what even makes a sustainable artist nowadays? And I will just challenge to say that I genuinely think that exactly what you said, just the supply and demand, and the demand that we have for the music right now is coming from such a young generation. We're in trouble with what they are drawn to, what they are clinging to, which is why I have an issue with people who say they have a passion for music, yet you know the impact that your music can have, and you're still not choosing to make any type of true sustainable impact and change with people who are listening to your music, because it's not just catering to the adults. It's one thing if we could censor music out to where legit only adults, responsible adults at that, are listening to your music. But it's not just responsible adults listening to the music. It's like kids and irresponsible adolescents. And those are the more so people that it's like, yo, is this a passion or a pit stop for you? Because if this is your passion, what exactly is the impact that you want to make with it? Because when artists say, oh, I just want to get my music out there, I just want people to hear my music and be able to feel me as an artist and stuff. Right. You want, okay, well, what exactly is it that you want me to feel? Because that's why we got so many kids out here right now raising kids, because that's what they was listening to. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of just like, yo, what is your true passion when it comes to music? I see you in the studio grinding. You are coming out with these banger hits and all that. But like, as a passion, is it just you want people to like turn up and get crunk to your music? Because to me, that's just so your passion is partying in. Your passion is not necessarily music.
Okay, now I see what you mean. Okay. And I mean, a lot of people, that is it. I mean, we learning that with the quarantine. Like, I mean, but I do want to shoot our people some bell though, because this might be the biggest lesson I learned in quarantine. Like, and I never professed to know it all. Here's what I learned about our people. Black people, we still connected to our African roots. That's why we like to party so much. That's why we like to dance so much. That's why we like the music and the sound of the drum so much. Like, we still connected to that. Like, they might have enslaved us, whatever you want to call it. We ain't lost that. And I finally noticed that during the quarantine, because I seen people setting up their own parties and setting up their own little stimulation of what the club would have been. And I ain't gonna lie, people that overdo it, I would judge them. I'd be a little judgmental. I mean, I'm working on that. I'm trying to grow anyway. I'm trying to judge anybody. But baby steps, But then I had to realize, like, no, that's just who we are. We got to get together, first of all. We love being together. And we got to have that music. Like, while we together, we got to have that sound. Like, so we connected all the way back to the motherland, because that's what we did there. Back to all our drums, and we danced in circles. Like, so that's the same thing. But that still ain't really what you're talking about. I just wanted to speak to that spiritually really quick. But what you're talking about is real.
No, it is. That's absolutely. We can still relate it, because if you think about it, especially when it comes to Black people, this is where I can say all people, right? Because all of these off-brand people, because if you're not Black, in my opinion, you off-brand, right? So all these off-brand people.
Well, everybody come from us anyway.
Correct. So
more importantly, they come from you, the Black woman. Everybody come from you.
Exactly. Right? So, power to the Black women. So but that goes back to the passion for music. Even if you're not a musician, especially if you are Black and that is of your culture, right? Like, you're typically drawn to it in some way. You're typically drawn to the music, which is even more reason why it's like, as an artist, you should feel that same responsibility that an artist of your caliber feels of, I can make bangers for my people. We know we're going to get out there, because if you look at it, African dances, a lot of times what we would consider vulgar and derogatory for our little American girls to be doing, we would consider it being, quote unquote, being fast these days. These little girls are doing it in such a culturalistic way. They've been twerking. Twerking been out. We've been twerking as Black women, right?
We've been throwing that ass. Also very African. That's very West Indian and Caribbean twerking. That's all us. So
we've been twerking that ass, right? But doing it in such a way. I got a theory about
this generation. I feel like I was just talking about this last night with my homegirl, my best friend. So they just took it. It's just like the decades in time. Like, they seen what I don't know. You're 80s baby like me. I ain't gonna ask you your age, but are you 80s baby like me? Okay, that's fair enough. So we the same generation pretty much. So all they did was build on what we was doing, and they just took it. They took it as far as they could. So where it's at now is where it was going next. It was the only other place it could go. Like, only if the clothes was really baggy, the only thing they could have did was go back to get tighter. You know, if the girls was already starting to take their clothes off a little bit, so now these girls just ain't got no clothes on. Like, and that's normal. Like so, like once I started realizing that, again, it helped me be a little less judgmental. Like, okay, like all they doing is building on what we did. Like because we gotta be responsible for that. We gotta be responsible for Lil' Kim and Foxy Brown. We gotta be responsible for that.
Yeah.
You know,
now we got Cardi. I mean, she got brand a little bit. We got Cardi and Megan and Nicki and all these other people and
they
like Saweetie and you know,
they trying to take it somewhere else. That's all he's building on what they did back in the 90s. So
but again, it's like even if we take it back to like the whole like being more cultural with it, it's like back then they were twerking and stuff, and their songs was talking about them twerking, but they were talking about it from a look at this powerful being, look at this woman and these hips and this ass she got.
That's true. You know
what I'm saying? So
that was definitely a sophistication there still. I don't know.
It got real raunchy, real fast.
Yeah, it got real. It did.
It went from being this exclusive being and power and physical presence on the earth as a black woman to now I'm doing it because I'm a thought bop and I need all the boys in my yard and I'm doing it for this type of attention versus I don't even need that because
I gotta admit, I still don't understand that. I gotta admit that I still, you know, some of them songs I do like, I'll admit, but it's like, I don't know how it got here. I don't know how it lost that sophistication, for lack of a better word. Because that's the word I keep thinking of. Because like you're right, it's just more. I don't know. I'm gonna choose my words carefully. I feel like the lyrics and the content is more. They made it more just accessible and basic. They didn't really. I don't know if they did that on purpose or what, but it's like they not interested and it having that sophistication. It's like you said, it's just straight to
the passion changed.
And right or wrong, that's what they doing. You know, even if anybody hearing me right now and they gonna criticize me for saying this right now, all right, that's fine. But if you go listen to the lyrics, that is what they saying. Like you can't take that away from us. We just quoting what they saying. That's all.
Right. But I think that that's where I feel like, okay, the passion changed. Like the passion is no longer for the actual art of what you're talking about. Like, because for instance, like, and I am the furthest thing from part of the Beehive. Like, I probably bought maybe one Beyonce album in my life, like maybe one, like, but don't get me wrong, sis is absolutely probably the greatest that we've seen in our generation when it comes from a like, hands down, right? Like, I can't in any shape compare anybody to her as a music artist whatsoever. Now, can people fuck with her vocally? Absolutely. I can name a few people who can fuck with Beyonce vocally.
I can too.
But as a music artist,
that don't mean that she ain't go vocally. Right.
Correct. Right. Again, no shade from her because she's definitely, I'm talking about top 5, like hands down, even with that, right? But Beyonce has made some songs about that twerking. She done made songs about the sex life and the sex game, but she does it in a way that you can tell she still has to represent her brand, who she is, that sophistication. Like in 10 years from now, my daughter can jam this and it could be okay. You know what I'm saying? That she can jam that.
Yep.
So it's like you said, that sophistication.
She also understands her role in that she pushes culture forward. So even when she does that, it's still done in that way. It's just everything she do really intentional. She rarely makes a misstep. That don't mean she's perfect, of course, but she does it the right way. And she got a lot of artists and young women that want to emulate her and want to be her. So she must be doing something right. I consider myself a classy guy, so I could always respect class. You know, I feel like they trying to. I feel like where we at now in the culture, I feel like they trying to get class out the paint. Like it ain't swagging to be classy no more. That's some bullshit. Like you can have it all. Like I can still be like me. I can still be from the streets. I can still be rough around the edges, but I got some class. I'm still a gentleman. I'm still, I still got some cool. I still know how to carry myself. If me and you go offline and you tell me something in confidence, I ain't gonna say nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm from that school. You know what I mean? That ain't gonna never change about me. I preach those messages in my music. You know what I'm saying? Because that matters. You know what I mean? Like little dudes men especially little young men need to grow up and know how to be honorable. That honor can't never go out of style. Like,
and that's what I mean. Like, if music is truly your passion, right? Like, there legit is so much shit that someone could be talking about and make why you not rapping about how to teach these little dudes how to be honorable? Like, really have somebody's back, like looking out for people, like. Yeah, you can get all the girls. Like, you can rap about getting the girls without being derogatory towards, like, that. You know, like, I just feel like it's such a better way to do it and say it. And I feel like
I agree with that.
The passion that people have for the art of music, the true art of music.
Right. People have to, artists just got to challenge themselves more. Like, how can I do what's been done before, but do it my way and do it differently? Like, you talk about the girl song, like, I take pride in every time, you know, not every time. I haven't always. I've made some paint by number girl songs. I was the kind of artist that didn't even make a lot of girl songs, but I take pride in when I make them. I take a different approach every time, and I really just tell my story in my music anyway. But I try to, what hasn't been done, what angle has somebody not tackled this from before, and then I go do that. And I don't think artists is really trying to challenge themselves no more. Like this, if this is a passion for you, stand on your topic. This is a passion for you. You're going to find you can have it all. I can make a hit record people going to love, they going to listen to, they going to dance to. I can still have a message in there. I can hide the vitamin and the brownie because it's all programming anyway, right? I can have it all. Like, artists ain't challenging themselves. I go in there with that challenge every time. Like, I want it all. I want some shit that's gonna be banging that y'all want to listen to. That I'm too smart to not have a message, but you ain't gonna even know you being preached to. Exactly. You might not even get the message unless you on the level, or it might click later. That's part of the art. That's what art is supposed to do. Like, I want it all, and I'm coming in with that challenge every time, and nothing's off the table. Like, I'll make a song about anything that inspires me. I made a song. I got a high heel fetish. I made a song about it, and I made it cool, and it sounded cool, and I'm, you know, it's like, it's all my expression. That's art. That's what art is. Like, how can I take this thing that I'm obsessed with, and how can I put it in my art and do it in a cool way that everybody get to enjoy this with me, and they don't even realize that's what's going on. You know what I mean? And it's just fun. Like, it's just fun, and hopefully it'll go in shoe commercials soon. Because I'm working on that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's coming. You know what I mean? It's coming for you. It's coming.
Right. Yeah, I'm claiming that. That's happening. Yeah. That's happening. We're going to get licensed, right? But my point is, like, inspiration surrounds us. Rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. I heard him say that once. Inspiration surrounds us. And if you passionate, and if it's not a pit stop, you tapped into that. And you tapped in, how can I be intentional in my art? How can I tap into, since I'm tapped in, how can I challenge myself and not just do it paint by numbers? How can I, you know what I mean? You're gonna come at it with a different level. But if it's a pit stop for you, that's not real for you at all. You just, what is everybody else doing? Let me do that. I'm gonna ride this till it run out. And it will run out. And they know, and they don't even care. They don't even care because they don't give a fuck to begin with.
Right. And that's kind of just like everybody wants to do music part of it. It's just like, man, you hear music, it makes you move, it makes you feel, right? Like, music makes you feel. And I got an episode coming out in this series that is titled Music Sound Saves, Music Heals from the Inside Out. Because music actually, it does. It can really heal you, right? And it's like,
frequencies in it.
I don't think that a lot of these artists truly realize, like, it's cool to have those songs because, yes, those are parts of us, but you have to be able to compartmentalize it. You got to be able to compartmentalize your music.
It was something you said earlier in this episode that I wanted to use that word, but I just let it. I ain't want to interrupt you and not see. There you go. Please continue. My bad.
Yes, no, you're okay. So, like, you got to be able to, like, compartmentalize your music, right? Like, yeah, I got my turn up music. That's 1 through 11 or whatever, and I sprinkle in songs.
You evolve. That's why you can do that.
Right. And you know what the thing is like you said, though, supply and demand. So if you talking too much of that good shit, like, a lot of people who not woke and they only want to hear that ran, like they not gonna be with it. It's gonna start clicking with them because now you making them think too much. So yeah, they like your beat.
I don't want to think too much. I want to be distracted. I'm trying to turn up. I'm trying to turn up. Like, I'm very passionate about mental health. It's my belief that mental health can change the world. I feel like if we love ourselves and respect ourselves, and we on top of our humanity, not only will we take better care of ourselves, we'll take better care of each other. You know, when all our ventures and how we work will run smoother, everything, I really feel like that'll change the world. Like, until I land on a new theory. So, we can't escape it. It land on mental health every time. So, if my shit ain't straight and I'm trying to stay distracted, I ain't trying to hear that. Like, I'm trying to hear this turn up. I need a soundtrack for the distraction. I need a soundtrack for the distraction, which is cool. Like, everything's cool in moderation. Moderation is the key to life too. Like, you can damn near do anything you want to do as long as you do it in moderation. Too much in anything is a bad thing. But people, like you said, first of all, we human beings, we just struggle with compartmentalizing things. Period. Like, we don't even a lot of us don't even understand the basic concept that two things can exist at the same time. People definitely live in this conversation as either or. Either or. If I do this, I can't do this. Or if it's this way, it can't be this way too. Like, so they struggle with that anyway. So they definitely, we definitely struggle with it with our, the way we compartmentalize what we intake. Again, like time and place. What you're describing is a time and place for the turn up. I ain't, and don't get me wrong, I ain't better than nobody. Like, I ain't never trying to come off like I'm better. Anybody that's watching this or listening to this right now, I am not coming off like I'm better than you. And ain't nobody better than me. Like, we all just out here trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So I understand it's a time and place. So it's a time for when I want that turn up. But it's a time where I don't need those vibes.
I was on another one of the podcasts that I listen to is Everything Culture. Y'all go check them out. You can follow them at Everything Culture Podcast on all their platforms. So I was talking with them one day, and it was really interesting because I started talking about being woke and how a lot of the issues that we deal with is because this woke word, a lot of people, and takes it away from music, but comes back to the passion for music, right? Like, a lot of people being woke is a lot of external influences. I know what's going on in the world. I know what's going on in politics. I know what's going on in this and that. I'm well aware of the things that are going on around me. Right? And so they feel woke, and that's why they feel like they can listen to that type of music and it doesn't affect them in any shape, form, or fashion. They feel like that's just the type of music they listen to. When in essence, you're not woke at all. Being woke is an internal process only. Because once you are woke internally, you realize that everything around you, no matter how knowledgeable you are or how ignorant you are about it, it still affects you, right? Like, so the music that you pour into yourself, a lot of times you will realize if you change your music, a lot of other things start changing as well. So,
absolutely.
Like, for me, I know that a lot of times, me just being in my 30s and single and everything, a lot of times I can kind of take on a persona of a hopeless romantic. But you got me listening to the Keisha Coles, the Janae Aiko's, and the R&B's. Like, if that's what I'm listening to, the old SWV songs, don't let one of those slip up in a Pandora playlist. Yo, I'm hitting rewind and listening to all of the commercials so I can hit the replay on that, right? Like, but if that's what I'm pouring in, of course, I want some physical presence there to be able to make me feel those things because I'm feeling it through the music. I'm feeling it through the music. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so if you're woke within yourself, you realize, that's probably why you still with this whole, that's all I know. That's my life. That's how my dad was. That's all I know. That's all I seen was the streets. My dad wasn't there. Yeah, but you also, that's all you're pouring in is now you listening to 2 or 3 other artists who now they talking about. Correct. So it does affect you, like the music you choose to listen to. If you always listening to how you fucking these hoes and how you ain't dealing with nothing from no nigga because you'll blast his ass and all that every day, like that's all you really listen to. Yeah, as soon as somebody he might be having a bad day, but that's your black brother right there. And instead of you just being like, oh, dude, it ain't even that serious. Now you ready to pop off just because you so filled with that all the time. It's like being woke within yourself is understanding that even the music that we put in, you know what? I fuss at people all the time, especially my friends. And this is, I'm telling you, it's about being woke within yourself. My friends that listen to music going to sleep, my friends that watch TV, especially if you have it on the news or something that you can't control while you sleep, your spirit doesn't sleep. So while you sleep and you still listening to Bang Bang Shoot 'Em Up, you still listening to Savage, you still listening to all this stuff, your spirit doesn't sleep, honey. So all that 8 hours you thought you was resting, you were still taking in all that hypeness. Your spirit never got a chance to rest and calm down. You know what I'm saying? You have to, and that's why I say, the passion has to be there for the art, because at some point on that album, if homeboy or homegirl has your album on repeat through the night when they sleep, you can't give them 2 songs, which is only 6 minutes of your album, if that. You know, you can't give them 2 songs of, hey, bringing it back down to normal, and making sure you're taking care of yourself, making sure that you are taking care of the people around you, making sure you're investing in yourself, making sure you're investing in your health, making sure you invest. And there's ways to say that. If you're such a lyricist, if you're such an artist, you mean to tell me you can't say none of that without making it sound good? You know what I mean? You're right.
Hey, you kind of do a challenge down at me right there. I accept it too. Like I love it. I love it. I mean, like I said, nothing's off the table. Anything can be talked about, and we should be bringing it back to our art. Everything you just said is super real, like about our, like, you know, we talk in the same language in a sense, because I always think about, like, I try to train my subconscious, like with what I intake, what type of entertainment I intake, you know what I mean? So I only watch, it's a theme to everything I watch and I take in, because I'm trying to get my subconscious to think on a certain level. And what you're talking about is the same thing, like with just our spirit and whatnot. I mean, I always tell this funny story. Like, one of my exes, we had moved in together, and like, I think this was like back when Netflix was kind of new. You know how, like, I don't know, you know, you got Netflix, you know how it'll change to what your preferences are just based on what you watch. So like, I noticed what it changed to for her. You know, it was like all these dark documentaries, like. And then I noticed, like, you know, we moved in, so we like clashed in our DVD and Blu-ray collections together. And like, all mine was like, it's all like movie about Steve Jobs and Malcolm X and just all these great people, like people that did great things. You know, like that's the kind of movies I watch, and you know, a lot of biopics and stuff like that. And then like hers was like going somewhere else with it, like, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, it's all in what you feel. And now, because one day I noticed it, I'm like, you can really get an idea of, even if you didn't know me and her, like the type of people we are, by just looking at this DVD collection. And if you saw when I log into Netflix, and then when you log into hers, like that, without even having a conversation, you seeing what we about. And it was like right on brand. Like I'm about like creation, and I'm about like leadership, and about, you know, like doing great things and inspiration, you know what I mean? And she just like what she like, and I ain't trying to make her wrong or nothing like that. I just want to illustrate the point, because that's exactly what you're describing when you talk about the spirit, and when I talk about what I'm trying to feed my conscious and subconscious, like.
But then that in turn comes out in your passion for your music, which is what I can really appreciate in artists that are actually doing that.
Yeah, I have to bring it back. I have to bring it back to the art. Like, my process is I go live life and I bring it back to the art. Like, I'm just talking about what's really happening. Like, and I really like to hone in on my own personal story, because there's so many ways that you could write too. You know, a lot of artists, they get to the space where they're not even talking about themselves no more to keep themselves inspired. You know what I mean? Like that, it get old quick talking about themselves. I don't look at, I mean, I'm a Leo too, so I like talking about me, but I don't look at my art like that way. I always approach my art like this is just one huge story, and I'm trying to keep giving y'all episodes. And if I discover something, I want to bring it back to y'all in my art. It might click for you too. And I don't care if it's 1 million people or one person. Like, all that matters is that I was able to affect somebody in a good way.
In a good way.
You know? In a good way.
And so, I mean, I don't know what the idea, besides just from a financial perspective, that us, as I would say, the average person, non-music average person can see. I think a lot of people nowadays it's just a look. It's just the idea of what doing music and making music could possibly bring to you. I don't think
not to cut you off. I want to say this on your platform. I want to get this out there. So this is dope. This is an opportunity to get this out there. Like, I want, people, again, like I said, come back to mental health every time. Like, this ain't, if we dealing with, I'm going to say we, because, again, I ain't better than nobody. If we dealing with stuff, this can't save us. Like, it could help if you're doing it in a constructive, productive, dare I say, positive way, the right way. It can help. It still ain't the silver bullet. Like, it ain't, But what you're talking about, the pit stop, if we are choosing to do music because we got stuff going on about ourselves deep down and we don't love ourselves, or this ain't finna quick fix that. Sorry, like I know people want to. I'm comfortable not saying we because I ain't clout chasing. I know people want to. On my album, I say clout chasing me. If I'm doing what I'm supposed to do and I'm pushing for my purpose in life is empowering other artists. So if I'm living my purpose and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, people gonna see what I got going on. It's happening for me. People are attracted to me. They come to me, and sometimes it just take them a while. Like I told motherfuckers I was that nigga 5 years ago. It just took them 5 years to go to see it. My message hasn't changed. I ain't doing nothing different in the 5 years. I'm just making bigger and better moves. That's all. So the cloud is chasing me. I ain't gotta chase the cloud. So if that's what you want, you using this as a pit stop. Baby boy, baby girl, this ain't gonna do it. It ain't gonna be that Band-Aid that just, whatever. Because what they say, wherever you go, you taking you with you. And if you're doing it for the money, it's gonna enhance what you already got going on. So I know that. Like I'm out here, I'm trying to get wealth. I want generational wealth, but I know I need to work on me first because I've historically had issues with money and how I blow my money and whatever. So if I get these millions like I want, because I also understand that if I really want to change the world like I want to, I need money. I need resources. Like if I'm a billionaire, I could write a check and get some shit done. I could cut through. People gonna listen to me if I got a billion. People that could really push the button for what I want. You know what I mean? Like whenever I hit a limitation, I had the money to get in the door with somebody that can push that button for me. You know what I mean? So I understand money is a tool, so of course I want to get it, which is already just a positive way to look at money that I had to learn. I wasn't always here. You know what I mean? So, like I said, baby boy, baby girl, if you're using this for the clout chase, if you even get this money, this is going to enhance what you already got going on. What's important is taking care of yourself and your soul and having some compassion for yourself and making some room and space for our humanity and imperfections and just committing our life to that. To be the best person we could be for ourselves first, then we could worry about our children and or our spouse and or our, the rest our family and whoever else in our lives or whatever. But I'm about to become a rapper or R&B singer or a jazz musician or whatever because it look cool and then people gonna like me because people ain't never liked me. Woo woo, and it's just gonna fix that overnight. Yeah, but you're gonna have a bunch of fake motherfuckers around you.
Right. Not only that, but
that wouldn't fuck with you if you wasn't on, if you wasn't pop.
Right, exactly.
That's not sustainable.
Yep, exactly.
You want real people around you. You want to meet people like that, and it becomes something real. You don't want instantly used in a club surrounded by a bunch of fake motherfuckers.
Not only that, but see, when you do it as a pit stop, I think that a lot of times, if it's something that you're doing because it makes you happy, if it's something that you're doing because it's an outlet for you to continue this mental health stability and growth, right? Like that's whenever it's going to be sustainable. But like the whole jumping on the bandwagon because you think that once you get there, it's going to solve a lot of problems. That's when it's like a red flag that goes up and it doesn't last for very long. And that's whenever we do see, you had issues before and then you came into the money, you came into the music. It was supposed to be your passion, but it didn't save certain people. Like Amy Winehouse, amazing. Amy Winehouse was an amazing musician.
Amazing artist.
Amazing, right? It didn't save her.
God.
And along with so many others.
Yeah. So many others. Like, it's not a quick fix. I mean, I don't know. That's my TED Talk today. That's like, but it's true though. I'm right like that. And I see that sometimes. I see like people want to use this for that, and it still can do that for you if you channel it right. That's all. Just channel it right. But going
back to the resources, like even channeling the resources. So, for instance, a lot of these rappers that are out right now, like you're not channeling those resources to then go back, even to like where you're from. Like you move out the hood, you don't live there no more. Or even if you do, like, do you then go back and like start programs for these young people to where they don't have to that's all they know, so where that's not their story? You know what I mean? Like using your resources, because once you get that check, yeah, it might be good if you donate here and there, but come on, man, like these music artists are making like millions and could really, really like with the snap of a finger, like go into these communities and put in programs. Like you have this, like you can do this, and that's what everybody can work so hard for.
Everybody can. And I once heard a man say on the podcast, you give from where you at. All of us can do that. You know what I'm saying? All of us can do that. Like we ain't gotta wait till we get rich. You know what I mean? Like we could cut a check now if that's what you put your money where you can't be. If you ain't got the money like that, you can go put in sweat equity. Right. Yeah, you can get your time. So like all of us, I mean, there's a lot of truth to what you're saying. Only reason I'm saying it like that is because I agree with you. I always be trying to look at artists like looking at like what kind of charity you got. Like I see you done got rich now. Did you set up a charity? But then I kind of realized like I was being a little judgmental, and I don't ever want to look at how somebody else spend their money. But yes, my personal preference would be that people be charitable in some way. Let me flip and ask you a question. What's your take on people announcing when they do something charitable? Do you have a problem with that? Do you feel like charity should be private, or do you even care personally? What's your opinion on that?
All right. So with that, I feel like it's a double-edged sword. I feel like biblically speaking, you're supposed to do charitable acts for the glory of our higher power, to the glory of God, to represent, the glory of our universe. Like, so yes, I feel like you should do it because you genuinely feel like here is where there was a need and I'm able to fulfill it. Right.
I like that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But I also definitely don't see anything wrong. So for instance, I did a benefit banquet for my 31st birthday. And what I did was I did a fundraiser to where I threw like a gala, like a big dinner for myself. Oh. And with the proceeds, because I charged for this event, and it was a formal event and everything. And then I donated that to the Dallas Area Rape Crisis Center, which with my nonprofit, side note, with my nonprofit Lidor, Let It Dawn on You Empowerment, I partner with Dallas Area Rape Crisis Center. I'm a sexual assault advocate and survivor myself, so I donate all that money. So did I advertise that? Yes, absolutely. Like it was more of a, hey, I want to bring awareness. So I feel like
you put nonprofit business around it. You had to promote it. You had to.
Right. So I feel like if you do acts of charity, especially if you're like a music artist, they might not necessarily have a nonprofit to say, hey, through my nonprofit, this is what I did for my community. But what you can do is say, hey, this is where I'm bringing awareness. So in order to bring awareness here, this is what I did to get us jump started. And then that in itself is momentum. So I feel like if it really comes from passion and not pit stop, like, oh, I'm going to throw this money because I got it and I need this to give me more clout. Like I'm doing this so it looks good under my name. I think you can tell because you can easily give $10,000 to the Boys and Girls Club in your community, right? And there's nothing wrong if you say, hey, I just gave $10,000. Like, boom, I just gave $10,000 over here. But then is that all you did was just cut them a check and then say, here, have at it? Or did you cut them a check for $10,000, maybe go and talk to somebody about how you're going to use it and set up some new programs for when the boys come in or when the girls come in nowadays. And now you're trying to bring awareness. And now these kids that are already enrolled, now they're going to be little advocates and mentors. And we're going to set them up to teach them how to teach more little kids. You know what I'm saying? So I think that when it comes to charity, if you do it in silence, that's amazing. And that's a really beautiful thing because I feel like you genuinely are doing it from your heart. I do feel like even if you are going to market your charitable work, you have to do it with a purpose. It can't just be for the glory of you. It can't be for the glory of your name. Look at what I did. It needs to bring some type of awareness to a passion that you have within yourself of, hey, this is something that is really near and dear to my heart. This is something I'm really passionate about, and I would like to see it impacted. And this is what I did to jumpstart that impact that I'm trying to make.
Got you. Okay. Well, I don't think it's any wrong answer here. People that want to do, especially if they're doing it anonymous, if they want to do their charity anonymously, that's awesome. I can't agree with making people wrong for when they do announce doing charity. I'm with you. I'm definitely with you on the whole of you doing it for clout though, because people be thinking that everybody that's announcing it is doing it for clout. This is not true.
That's not true, right?
You know what I mean? Like I try to tie charity to my live concert events as much as I can. And ironically enough, I'm cutting the check tomorrow for a canceled concert I had because of the pandemic. Literally taking those funds and mixing my own with them, and I'm gonna send that check off tomorrow. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna announce that when it's completed because I want the people to know that we really did that. There's no fraud here. You know what I'm saying? Like that's one reason why I always announce it when I'm doing it through my artistry and through my brand. Because I don't want, I want everybody to know it's on the up and up. That's why I don't do it for clout. Like I don't have to do it for clout. Like if you people know I'm a charitable person and they know I have causes that I support, just announcing that is enough when I announce the show or I connect that to something. That's enough.
But I think that also goes to probably how you roll it out as well, because you're announcing it because you want to bring awareness to your artistry and to your brand. I need y'all to know that I'm here and that I really am working and this is how I operate. So again, it goes back to kind of the intention of it, because and I think you can really tell whenever people do something for clout, it looks completely different. They try to make it look real.
It feel icky. It look icky. What's that new term they got? Virtue signaling? Have you ever heard that phrase?
Mm-mm.
That's a new popular phrase. Like virtue signaling is when, and I'm still learning about it, but virtue signaling is like, hey, kind of like this kind of vibe. Like, hey, look at me. Like, I care about this. I'm a good person. Like, that's when you virtue signal. Like, so like, there's a lot of that going on. And you can sense that, like, that just don't feel right. It's completely different than, hey, like you said, I'm doing this benefit gala, which I think that was dope. See, and the good thing about stuff like that is, that's what's good about tying it into things, because you can create a platform and then people get some value. Oh, I would have came, people be like, well, Dawn, I would have came to your event anyway. So this is dope, it's for charity. You know what I mean? Whereas if you would have asked them, hey, would you donate or match my donation? Sometimes people just don't do it or they won't match, But when you get them some value, that's a vehicle to raise the money, So I always love that kind of stuff, because if you're going to come to my concert anyway, you was going to come. You might not even care to necessarily support this cause. And that ain't even a bad thing. Now you are, without even knowing that you are, or you wasn't even on your radar. Right. Or you feel different. Well, I want to come to the TWAIN show. I was going to buy a ticket. So I love that kind of stuff, because you could tie it in and you can even possibly get even more money raised that way. Right. So
with virtue signaling, just for our listeners, the actual definition of virtue signaling is a noun, and it means the action or practice of publicly expressing opinions or sentiments intended to demonstrate one's good character or the moral correctness of one's position on a particular issue. So again, that is bringing awareness. Like, I'm trying to let you know that this particular issue, I need you to recognize my artistry. My particular issue and my position is, hey, as a brand, as an artist, these are things that should be going on. These are things that as a Black artist, I should be doing and giving back to not only my music artistry, but as to my Black community in the artistry, like that. Right. So there we go. Virtue signaling. Yeah. Now we know what it is.
I guess I hadn't taught something today, but I just learned it myself. So.
Yeah, plant them seeds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I have thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. I am super excited to give this over to our producers and have them edited it. Do you have any last thoughts or any last minute takeaways that you would like our listeners to take away from you?
Well, just number one, always love and respect yourself. to all the artists out there or anybody thinking about becoming an artist, number one, for our topic today, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with wanting to make music or be an artist. And I know it's oversaturated. So what? You should do what your heart desire. What me and Dawn trying to teach y'all today, though, and just get the message out there today, like, just look at why you doing it. You know, we want to do that with anything in life. What is my intention behind this? Why am I doing this? Am I doing this for the right reasons? So music, before you walk through that door of being an artist, you definitely want to make sure you're doing it as a passion, because it's going to be rough. Mm-hmm. And it will smoke you out if you ain't doing it for the right reason. You will get chased out by dogs. So yeah. And then I would love to just tell everybody where they can find me and that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
I'm TWAIN again. Thank y'all for listening today. I'm at TWAIN Law on everything except Snapchat. That's TWAINLO at TWAIN Law on everything. My new album is called Central Standard Time. It's been out a few months. I'm on all streaming services, or you can just Google TWAIN Central Standard Time. Check that out. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
You can also find links to Central Standard Time that will be in the descriptions on our platform. So if you are listening, make sure you click his links below. Make sure you subscribe to us and all his platforms. TWAIN, we appreciate you coming in our studio and blessing us with your intellect. We appreciate you as a music artist. We appreciate what you're doing for music. And I want you to just keep doing it. And make sure you stop back in and check with us.
Oh, no doubt. Thank you so much for having me. This was a blast. And an honor. I wish you much success with this new platform. This is awesome.
Thank you. So listen, listeners, music touches. It should be a way to express an art of the soul. We all have pit stops on the way to our passions. Stay diligent in your self-reflections and goal setting so you don't waste time and resources. Your passions are too important for you to miss while in the pit. Not now, but right now. Subscribe, follow, and like us on all social media and listening platforms at Concrete and Blossom Podcast. Click the notification bell so you don't miss any newly released content. I'm your creator and host, DawnTheDoll, and this is Concrete and Blossom Podcast. DawnTheDoll delivers.